we just wrapped up an amazing conversation with Mika and JR about their new film, Songs for Selina. I don't even know how to describe these two because these guys are megastars, not just in the Philippines, but globally. By the way, this is Sarah and Angela, who are part of our staff.
Hi.
Sarah and Angela.
I know, we're like,
before we do that,
You guys are new.
We were the audience while they were filming.
over there.
Yeah, we were
sitting by the camera.
So I'm bringing you guys into this intro because you guys just watched the movie with us. You guys just sat in for the conversation.
Yeah.
In the conversation of the podcast that we just had with them, what was something that stood out to you guys?
Hold on, let me pop up my notes.
Okay, while you guys do that. All right, one thing that stood out to me was the hustle they put into creating this movie.
That really,
that's crazy.
Yeah, that I was listening, like, I kind of related to that the most because I am not an artist, but I'm more on, like, the film production side. And it was interesting to me because being an artist, they had to, like, kind of change that and be, like, they had to be like, okay, I need to put the artist music aside and be a film artist. Film artist?
Filmmaker.
Filmmaker. Film artist. Filmmaker.
That makes sense too, actually.
Yeah, like now I have to see what I'm trying to produce cinematically and not vocally. Well, it's vocally too, but you know, like just for visually, like they need to like switch that and try to create a story with that. And then also what they had to go through from recording and starting this like project in 2019, and then stuff happened, and then their journey to be where they are right now, you know.
Yeah. What about you?
I think what stood out to me the most is like, I mean, I grew up watching, you know, all these like TV shows and like music realities in the Philippines because my mom's like first gen Filipino, and I've talked about this before, but like, you know, seeing their background and then seeing them come from being an artist to being the filmmaker and then actually doing the post-production and then now marketing, which is what I do. And, you know, it's like scary to think like one day I'm going to have to like put all of that together by myself, or even just trying to find a team that works well with each other to be able to like put such a movie out and like, you know, on Amazon Prime, you know, or whatever platforms it does make it to.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely was, you know, listening to the hustle, how hard they had to work and how much they put in emotionally and financially and physically into this movie. And after 6 years, they finally made it happen and they came out with such an amazing product. And I love how they approach their artistry, whether it be with music or with cinema. Their biggest thing is showing up. And I'm like, dude, like showing up and believing in yourself, you know, so that's some advice that anyone in any field can take along with them. And so I definitely took that away. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, definitely in this conversation, we didn't just talk about the movie, a lot of gems for creatives and up and coming artists. So a lot of takeaways from anyone that watches this conversation. So without further ado, let's jump into that conversation. First off, I love the whole story of the movie. And like I just told you guys outside I love that you both wrote this movie. Because knowing that you guys come from the industry, this story comes from like a true place. What made you guys feel like you guys had to tell this story?
Go for it. Are we live already? We're like recording?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, it's kind of frustrating because it really happens to artists in the Philippines. And, you know, we see a bunch of interviews and movies and documentaries of the same kind of thing, but it's mostly like in the US or something. And we wanted to shed light in our industry because it's important, because people are actually getting hurt and mentally abused and physically abused. And we really wanted to tell a story and get away from the narrative that's really just like a love triangle or a comedy or a horror, you know, something that's always being reproduced in the Philippines. We want to do something different this time and really tell truth and really make something creative at the same time that has music in it. You know, so what would you say why we did it?
Well, when we were conceptualizing the movie, I was pretty heavy in show business. Like I was on set every single day.
Acting or singing or both?
I was on Showtime every day, live show.
You done a musical
I
too?
was in a musical theater production. I was on a teleserie. I was taping every other day. And I was in the thick of how the industry works, and I experienced a lot and seen a lot and heard a lot. And we were talking about how I think one of the main points that I had was like, man, the only roles that I'll get are the same things, like the same things they cast me for. So not to say that I was typecasted, but it's kind of like a repetitive storyline that they're comfortable with, that they know the masses will eat up. And so you're like, you know, when are we going to have a chance to make a movie that's just something that we want to talk about or we would want to watch if it wasn't our own? So we kind of sat together and came up with this idea and just kind of went for it, just because it's never been done. This kind of story has never been done from the Filipino perspective.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's what I noticed. And I was trying to find movie references in the Philippines of like anything similar. And I couldn't find anything. The closest thing I found was like the TLC biopic that was filmed here, or like the New Edition, they made a biopic, and it's kind of this similar thing, but from the perspective, like in the Philippines, you wouldn't think that it's the same situation out there. Probably even more extreme.
And also, Filipinos are so known in entertainment. Filipinos are known to either be the best singers, the best dancers, comedians. We're in entertainment, so like there's gotta be some other stories that go on that are parallel to what happens over here, which is like in the US, I guess it's the hub of entertainment, or like the Olympics of entertainment.
Right.
So it trickles down to over there where we are. And I don't think a lot of younger kids or artists really think about this when they enter. Because Filipinos are just naturally talented.
Yeah.
Like your parents are going to go make you sing at things and make you compete at singing shows or whatever.
Yeah.
But
funny.
the industry side of it isn't as talked about. So it's kind of cool to see that, oh, yeah, this kind of stuff happens too.
So with that said, given the story, did you guys have like a specific audience you're targeting to, I guess, give this story to? Is it for, you know, Filipino Americans that have that same struggle with like parents, unsupported parents, or is it the up and coming creative, or are you targeting people who are looking to get signed that you're, you know, essentially not scaring them to not want to pursue music industry? Yeah, I mean, in terms of an audience, who do you want this movie to speak to?
Basically, definitely creatives, like Filipino creatives especially, but to everyone really. That's why we made it mostly in English. But we really wanted to shed light, like we said, about the industry there. And you know how that comes automatic already with artists and their parents. So that was like automatically in the story already.
Yeah.
We didn't really mean to do that. It just really happened because it's just part of the whole like the whole journey as an artist. I mean, your parents are always there supporting you or not supporting you. So that was just thrown in there. But yeah, we really wanted to just tell our story and tell it to artists that are coming up, because sometimes they think it's just lights and glamour and just happiness, because that's what the music videos are all about, right? We're always just having fun, popping bottles in the club or whatever, but it's never really talked about behind the scenes, about like the business side of it, about trying to get your check or trying to sign up for your publishing and you know, sign the right contract or negotiate.
Like knowing what to even look at when you're given a contract, and kind of being blinded by an opportunity that feels like the biggest dream that you could imagine.
Yeah.
But behind that, there's also a lot of, you know, like the fine print that you need to know about, because then it could lead you to a direction you don't really want to be in. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's for artists for sure, but we also wanted to make it universal, so it could relate to other people as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, funny, my next question led to something that might spoil it, so I'll save it. But I did want to stir the pot a little bit with this question of like, So in making this movie, you guys wanted to uncover the dark side of the industry in the Philippines, right? Weren't you guys afraid or you guys hesitant at all of like rubbing people the wrong way, being that you guys came from this industry?
Yeah, for sure. But you know, it's a challenge that we decided to really take because I think we are gonna rub people the wrong way because we are in the industry, like you said, and these are based off of true stories from our experiences, from us, from our friends, and we kind of jumbled everything together to make this whole story together. But I think that's what's good about it is because we want people to talk about it. We want a conversation to happen, and we don't want that same conversation to have that everyone's just talking about, you know, just having fun and making it big. It's more than that. You know, you really have to work hard and you really have to know what you're doing and be with the right people and surround yourself with the right people. So, you know, we want that conversation to happen because there's a lot of artists that are signing bad deals and being manipulated, and it's not good for them. Yeah.
Like that change can only happen if it's talked about or a light at least is shined on it. And it's not to say to take away opportunities from the ones that established the system, right? It's just about kind of leveling out the playing field so that it's more fair for the creatives, the artists that are doing all the work and are pouring their heart and soul onto their projects or into their projects, and then they see nothing at the end. That's not fair.
Right.
Like if the big companies or big managers or big whoever's are making money, then the artists should be making as much.
There's so many legacy artists that have done great things for the industry, that have brought OPM to the world, and they have written great songs, made great movies, but at the end of the day, it's like they have nothing to show for it because they signed the wrong paperwork or they were misled about something. So, you know, we really wanted to tell that story.
Yeah. So is that issue still relevant today? Still, like, is that something we still see, given the history of like, this has been going on forever, right?
It's a thin line because the majors, they really do help out upcoming artists because it's like an avenue for them to really shine because they have the network, the big companies, they have the network to really put an artist on. The only thing is sometimes it's one-sided though. So, you know, it's really hard to say who's right and who's wrong. But the important thing is we got to tell the story.
Yeah.
For people to learn.
And your question about rubbing people the wrong way, we just want to tell good stories.
Yeah.
And these stories will last even longer than we are here on Earth. So we might as well, you know, make an impact and share something meaningful by creating this art it's not just, you know, it's not just the plot. It's the amazing cinematography, the talented actors, the music that goes into it. Like, we want to showcase everything that Filipinos are good at.
Yeah.
And then,
I wish you guys did.
Yeah, so it's multifaceted, so it's not really as... I mean, if they're rubbed the wrong way, then I don't know, maybe.
I could see the label example like, yo, I think they're talking about me.
Exactly. I don't know, but...
They're defensive. They're rubbed the wrong way. Hey, why are you guilty? Don't feel guilty.
Yeah, I could totally see the label. It's like, yo, I think that's me they're talking about.
Right?
But,
Right?
yeah.
It's just like maybe, like perspective-wise, like maybe check ourselves and take accountability and maybe make a positive change if there is something that's weird.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's more of we're just putting a mirror up against the players in the industry and in a very creative way that we can be proud of, because we're not afraid to show this movie to non-Filipinos.
Right.
We're like, this is a Filipino-made film fully.
Proud
and
of it
we're
too.
proud.
Yeah.
So why is that? There's nothing bad about that.
Yeah.
Right,
Because I think
absolutely.
there's, like you said, it's not for just Filipinos. And I think there's a lot of concepts that people could relate to. And people wouldn't think that something like this goes on over there. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. Vince, you got something?
Right. No, I think I love how at the very least you show the power dynamics at play when you're working with a major label and the powers that be there. So yes, like you said, you could be presented with like the biggest dream you could ever imagine, but don't think that everyone there is in it for you. You know what I mean? Necessarily. And I love how you guys took a collection of different pitfalls that maybe the both of you have experienced and your friends have experienced, and you put it all in the movie because that could happen to someone.
That's true.
So even though this was fiction, it's based on fact. It's based on things that have happened and are probably going to still continue happening if the powers that be don't get checked. And if, artists remain a little bit too gullible or vulnerable, so this is kind of almost like a word to the wise, like, yes, don't, so someone wants to sign you, don't come in with rose-colored glasses thinking that everyone is, your best friend, and that it's okay to do the things that they're doing, and it's okay to follow their lead every time, because these people can also be selfish and be looking out for themselves only. And I love how, without giving it away too much, there's a character, a very small role in the movie, where she is like a veteran singer, and she drops gems. She drops a gem in one part later on in the movie, and then one of the main characters was like, exactly, like, I am listening, and this is the truth. She's speaking facts.
Yeah, I think she said the quote, and I just want to throw it out there, was, "You're not an artist, you're a product."
Yeah.
I was like, yo, that hit.
Exactly.
When she said that, I was like, ooh, I think that's the part that's just like, that kind of just turns perspective around for people that's watching.
But the power dynamic is shifting now. We have all these aggregators coming out like DistroKid or CD Baby or stuff like that. So now artists can put out their own music. And what's happening now is they're putting out their own music and they're getting millions of streams without the labels. So now the labels are looking for these artists that are doing it independently instead of finding artists and shaping them and pouring money and investing into them. Now they're looking for these people because we're doing it on our own now, and that's what I love about the industry right now. It's totally switching, and to all you artists out there that are doing it yourself, like, keep going and keep doing it. You guys are totally in the right direction. You don't really need a major label to get where you want to be right now. Yeah.
And also, either way, it's gonna be hard. It's so much work. Whether you're with a major or someone backing you or independent, it's so hard. There's so much you have to do on your own and that you have to learn how to do in order to move the needle forward for your art. So, it's still a good idea to just be able to look at all the avenues and channels that you can take and then decide for yourself what's better for you or what's best for you. Because we're also not saying that there's only one way to do it the right way. Because like with the majors and the bigger companies, they really, like what JR said earlier, they really put in to a lot of the artists that they develop. So now it's like there is a point to them taking a bigger percentage because they're providing so much more to the artists that they sign early on, versus now where it's like you can create your own world and then have a better negotiating power when you do want to deal with a major or stick independently. But there's options now, more options, and especially with the internet and having access to people that will consume your art, there's just more options. So it's overall positive. It's just how things will change and shift, and how both the old school and the new school will work together to just continue to make our industry thrive.
So, with that said, you guys have been veterans in the game, and you guys have seen the industry change. What does independent music look like right now in the Philippines? Is it more? Is it like growing really fast? Or I don't know. What do you guys think about like up and coming artists out there?
It's really good.
So good. There's
really
so
good.
much.
There was a point in time where the Philippines, all they were doing was just cover songs, right? And we're looking back at the industry, we're like, man, how are we going to grow if we just keep doing cover songs? So we were advocating just original music. We even did a tour called Original Music Only. We went around like a bunch of bars in Philippines, and then we even went around the States doing original music only. So we were always kind of advocating that. And finally, there was a shift in the industry where, like the kids were just making songs in their rooms and just putting it out on Spotify, and it was getting major hits, millions of hits. And that's where we're at right now. And they keep doing it. And for some reason, it's like because of the internet, they have more access to, you know, like swaggy music and what's
Right.
really good out there. So they're able to evolve now, and they don't need like a major producer or something or a great writer to help them out, because they're doing it themselves. They're soaking it up the culture, and just they're recording it in their room, dude, on a
Yeah.
mic like this,
You
on
wouldn't
a little
think.
computer,
Right.
and making it sound amazing. It's so cool. And that's what I was saying. It's like now the majors are looking for these artists because, you know, they don't really have to spend anything. They can just use their network and team up with the independent artist that's really doing it and just grow even more.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's the thing. It's like when you trying to sign that contract, you better make sure you look at all the fine print, bro, because there's a lot of stuff in there that could go wrong.
Yeah.
But it's cool, you know. I love where the industry's at right now. There's a lot of original music happening. You barely hear any covers now. It's all original, and
they're dope. Like, it's like,
Yeah.
wow, like these are Filipinos.
I know. It's crazy.
Born
'cause
and raised
in this
over there.
era of like the internet, this is like our era to shine because we're not hiding behind covers. Because you guys actually cover that in the movie where, you know, it's about putting out a pretty face to music. And it's about the pretty face, not so much the music. And I think that's why in the Philippines, we've just been hiding behind this cover music because it's in the industry, maybe it was never really about the music itself. Maybe it was just about the marketability of an artist.
Yeah, I definitely think it's both because years ago, I mean, when the term OPM was coined, original Pinoy music, they were releasing original Filipino music,
Yeah.
like the older bands. And then it came to a point where maybe the industry just shifted and maybe there was more money to be made if you're doing covers, and it becomes like a machine, right? If it works, then why would they not do that?
Yeah.
Right.
So that also makes sense. We're not trying to knock the industry for doing it that way, but it kind of closed the door to newer sounds or newer originals. And
Yeah.
it's just so nice that it's opened back up now and it's actually being put to the forefront because there's so much good music out right now by Filipino artists.
I agree.
So much.
I agree.
This is such a great time because if we can appreciate K-pop and J-pop and all that, like why not Filipino pop or
Yeah.
Right.
whatever genre it is?
Yeah.
the only thing now is now all these artists they're seeing this really fast success, and they're seeing it in their music. Now the only thing is the back end, like the writing, the mechanical royalties, the publishing. It's
The
like
splits.
the splits and stuff. You know, the artists, they really have to learn that too, and they're kind of slow on it. And if y'all are watching this, hit me up. I will show you how to get your publishing. I got some gems for y'all. You guys are gonna get paid because they're streaming millions, hundreds of millions, and there's a lot of money that's not being claimed. And we can see it online through like my publisher. Like we look up artists that I want to recruit and and help and educate and get that money for them. So hit me up, y'all. Like let's get that money for you. Let's go.
Hey, take them up on that
No,
because
and also like going off of that, there's this whole stigma that if you're an artist or if you pursue being a musician, you don't make money. And that's a reality also. But the thing is, if you don't learn the business, you still have to treat it like a business. That's how you figure out how to make the money.
Right.
And I think it's good also for Filipino parents and our elders that, they work so hard to put food on the table and give us a roof over our head and raise us to be good kids. But they don't understand that side. Like there is a business side to it. It's not just the glitz and glamour and artista, like that whole world,
Yeah.
celebrity and all that. There is a business to it. And if people just knew more and educated themselves more, then it won't be such a stigma, I think. Because there
Yeah.
are success
True.
stories, so many success
Sure.
stories. So how come they can make it?
Right.
They can make the money. And you don't have to be like the biggest star in the world. If you have your business right, then, you're setting
Yeah.
yourself up for something good.
Now it's funny you mentioned that
Good point.
because I think it was like the other week. There was like so many artists with hundreds of thousands of streams per month that are still they still have their regular day jobs because they're unable to turn streams into a business. And I think it's just maybe the lack of knowledge or just a lack of resources, but those resources out there. So
Yeah, I mean, shoot, it is hard to
It's
make money
hard.
because I mean, we need like 1,000 streams for a penny or something like that?
Yeah.
It's like
So-
it's really hard, but I mean, it accumulates. So we want to just collect that money, and there's ways.
yeah, for sure, for
Yeah,
sure.
and then there's also ways to get creative and not just rely on streams to make your money. There's merch, there's tours, there's collaborations with, groups and brands, and there's so many creative ways to push your music and be an artist for real. And it's just a
Absolutely.
matter of exploring your options and
Absolutely.
being resourceful.
Do you have a question?
No, I totally agree with that. I mean, and I love how you touched on if only Filipino parents and elders knew that there is strategy and business behind wanting to be an artist, they would be a lot more understanding and a lot more patient, I think, with their kids and grandkids trying to pursue, a career in music. I think if we all, all in general, just have a better grasp on like the ways, the music business works and the strategies behind being successful, I think we'll all have a better understanding and acceptance when it comes to like your kid trying to, I want to be a rapper, I want to be a writer, I want to be a singer. Okay, tell me your plan. What do you know about this music industry that you want to pursue? And once we all have a better like hold on the way it all works, I think that stigma will eventually get less and less and less and hopefully go away. And
Yeah.
in a few years, maybe it'll be as accepted as, hey, I want to be an engineer. I want to be a teacher. I want to, so.
Yeah.
See, that's the purpose of the movie. It's kind of like a glimpse of what you need to know in the industry so you can make it. It's not just all about the glitz and glamour.
And it's
Right.
not an easy ride. Not everyone's going to make it.
Yeah.
But like at least you're aware that there are certain boxes you have to check and check within yourself or with your family if this is something that's still worth it to pursue.
Right.
Because like it's also hard to say like, yeah, you can do it, like just do everything. But if there's something that's not working, then that's like you still have to be real with yourself and you have to be
Yeah.
honest with yourself about your craft and the effort that you're putting into it, so that it makes sense. If it really doesn't make sense, then you also have to check yourself.
It's
Like,
true
Right.
though. You
Right?
got to do everything though. You know that meme where it's like he's like an artist, but the hats are like director, producer, writer, freaking gaffer. assistant.
So that's so true though.
That's so
It's-
true.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
got to do everything. We got to learn everything.
But it's like that's exactly it. Like you have to learn how your entire business works, and you have to live it, and get the grit to be able to survive through it, and then thrive from it. Because if you're gonna eventually build a team and you don't know how to do this one thing you're hiring someone for, like you might get screwed also.
Just overpay.
Like overpay for
Yeah.
something that because you don't know, because you didn't put your effort into learning about that one essential to push your career forward.
Right.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. And you know what? I love how we're talking about this now. And I don't know if this is giving away too much, but one character in the movie almost gave up. You know what I mean? Because they saw what life could have been had they gotten picked up. But because it didn't go that way, they wanted to give up. Like,
Yeah.
I'm done. I'm just going to work at this bar.
That happens so many times. I've been in the Philippines, well, back and forth now for like 20 something years. And because I went to the Philippines as a amboy, as a Philam, and made it in the mainstream, a lot of other Philams got inspired and, they would fly to Philippines and try it. And they would tell me, they'd be like, dude, you inspired me. I want to get in the industry. I want to do this. And I would help as much as I can. But they give themselves a timeline of like a year, and after a year, they're not really seeing any progress. And it's so easy for them to give up. And that it's hard. You got to be really persistent. You got to be freaking delusional, really, to be in this industry. It's really hard. Like
We
you really
always
have to
say
just be committed to your craft, and not only just like in the business, but I mean in your singing too. You have to just like practice every day. You really have to be committed every single day doing something that's pushing your artistry to the next level. And yeah, it's
It's not just the performance part of it too, because half the time people that make it aren't the best singers,
Mm-hmm.
right? Why?
Facts.
Because they have like tapped into their branding or their look or their selling point or their personality that people gravitate towards. Like there's so many parts to it that people really need to focus on and figure out what works. And then it's awesome if you're an amazing singer and have amazing songs, right? But
Yeah.
there's so much more that goes into it.
Yeah, that's just part of it, right?
Yeah.
And is who you know a big part of
Yeah.
success?
Most
Everything
definitely.
is relationship building.
Mm-hmm.
A tito of mine told me that. He's very successful. So he's like, anak, everything in business or in life is relationship building.
Yeah.
So I guess you can, depending on where you are in your life or where you are in your career, you can think of it that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like you have to make a decision. If you're going to go into something sharky, like know what you're going in there for and make sure that you're whole within yourself when you decide to go in.
Ooh.
And then you also make sure that when you make decisions, it's aligned with your goals and your truth so that you don't feel like, oh, I got used or like, oh, you know, like you know what you're in it
Yes.
for.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like
Right.
it's so hard to explain this but I think it
Dang,
makes sense.
gems.
Definitely.
Gems right there.
But that's why they say it's like you really have to network. You really have to put yourself out there, insight in mind. That's so important. It's like if you're just making like great music, but you don't know anybody, no one's gonna hear it. Like no, it's. I mean, yeah, for you, you're gonna be fulfilled. But I mean, what's the point of it, right? You're trying to get it out to the world. So you really have to network and meet people.
Yeah.
And you have to meet a lot of people. You have to meet the shark so that you can recognize what that is. And then when you meet someone that's legit and has your best interest in mind, you can tell the difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's frustrating because artists still think, no, my art will speak for itself. My music's good.
I mean, there's truth to that because
Yeah.
if it's good, it'll rise to the top.
yeah.
But you still have to do the work behind it.
Yeah. Well, once you meet the right person, it's like you need good music, you need good product to present to them. So it's definitely true.
Right.
But it's not 100% all of that. You gotta really go out there and sell your stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, I want to kind of bring it back to the movie though, real quick. Micah, you had a couple like intense scenes in the movie. Did you have to, being that you're already an artist yourself, did you have to prepare yourself at all for this movie?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
So much. Like, we had a bunch of readings. We had a bunch of coaching just for the style of acting that we wanted to do. We didn't want it to be, like, theatrical, like, where it's, like, big acting. And,
I'm glad.
You know, like,
I'm
we
glad.
wanted it to be as real and subtle as possible. So, yeah, there was a lot of preparation and just, it was easier for me because it was, the storyline was from us.
Yeah, that's
so
what I
already
figured.
had an idea of what it needed to be.
Okay.
But in terms of coloring the character, I have a technique that I've been studying for a long time.
Okay.
So I'm a student of Ivana Chubbuck, and she's a famous Hollywood acting coach. And I've studied her technique, the Chubbuck technique, for years, like 8 years now. And with that, it really does help to color the character that you're playing.
Right.
And be able to bring out the emotions that's needed, especially for scenes that are dark and like not. I personally don't have experience with some of the scenes that I did on the movie.
Yeah.
So
Thank
you know,
goodness.
it's like, how
I figured because it was like, yeah. Just
like
'cause,
personal experience, none. So I had to learn how to make it believable, and you know what I mean. Like I had
Yeah.
to ask people.
No, because they're intense. Because like the character, there's so many like ups and downs. It's like it just
yeah.
goes through a roller coaster of like emotions and yeah. So I'm like, oh man, she had to dig deep
Yeah.
for this role. Like I wonder where she's digging from. Is it from personal experience? Is it through an acting
Yeah.
coach? But yeah, no, that's
It's a
crazy.
mix of all of that.
Yeah.
Like a mix of my own experiences and then obviously the technique that I've been studying for a long time that really works for me with all my acting projects.
Yeah.
And then obviously the director and our on-set acting coach really had a hand in like leading the acting to where it was supposed to land from their perspective.
Yeah.
So
Big
yeah,
shout out to George Schultz.
yeah, and
And
Dean
Dean
Rosen,
Rosen.
they were so strict.
Oh
They were
yeah.
strict, yeah.
That's funny. Question for you, Jared. Though, well, actually, this one's for both you guys. So in this movie, there's a lot of contrast, right? Contrast between the two friends because they're very different. One's straight, one's gay, one's a songwriter, one's more like the, in front. And even the parents are contrasted.
Yeah.
There's supportive, unsupportive parents. So I'm sure there's, either a blend of both that a lot of Filipino kids have. And even like the label execs that you play and
yeah.
Erica, very different.
Emily.
Emily.
Yeah, yeah.
Emily. Oh boy.
It was really easy to hate her.
Oh my god.
She did such a good job.
Shout out Rachel Alejandro.
Rachel Alejandro.
How is she in real
Brought
life?
it. She's amazing.
Yeah.
Honestly, the entire cast was amazing.
Yeah?
This was a cast of all family and friends.
Oh,
So
no
it
way.
was-
So that was
it
fun.
was so fun.
Yeah. What was the biggest challenge in making the movie, though?
The raising the funds, definitely. It was pretty expensive to produce this movie, but I think another big challenge was watching the sex scenes.
I'm sure. That was a day off for you.
I'm like, okay.
Which is so funny because can we say where we shot it? In our house. We
No
shot
way.
that scene in our house.
Hey.
So I was like,
Say
you're
it.
in my territory. man."
Oh, so that's even more awkward for you.
Yeah.
Big shout out Gian Magdalena. It's all good.
Super.
It's all good. I still got love for you, but just watch out though. Just watch out.
Ian was like, your husband's here. This is your house. I was like, it's fine. It's quick.
Hey, it's art, though. At the end of the day, it's still art.
Yeah.
No, for sure.
But, so in
And-
terms of like, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, another hard part was just because we're first-time film producers as well, is keeping everything within budget and on time. Like, you gotta expect that things will go wrong because
Right.
they always do. No matter how hard you plan,
Oh my
there's always a
God.
delay. There's always something.
Dude,
there's always
we were shooting to maybe 3, 4 a.m. every day in our place, and the neighbors were getting so mad because there's so much, there's so many people, there's so many equipment, just making noise, just cleaning up. And
ingress, egress.
yeah,
That's
I was so embarrassed with the
crazy.
neighbors, but neighbors, if you're watching it, thank you so much for the support.
Yeah, we had
we
to give
love
them
you.
some gifts afterwards. Sorry, we were loud.
Yeah.
Wait, was that your home here or in the
In the
Philippines?
Philippines,
Oh,
because
okay.
they all got, we're shooting weekdays also,
Yeah.
'cause, and they got work in the morning and stuff, and
Yeah.
we're just making noise, dude.
Yeah.
And then our dogs are barking
I
because there's so
know.
many people in the house. It's like,
So how many people on set every time you guys shoot?
Oh, I don't remember.
20 or something.
Damn, so full on production team.
Yeah, it was full production.
So like the whole timeline of the movie, how long did it take you guys to shoot everything?
Well,
10 days or 12 days?
14 days plus an extra, so it was 15 days because we had to do a reshoot of something. But all in all, it was 5 years, dude. But that's including pandemic because we were kind of shut down for a long
Yeah,
time.
we were shelved for a while
Yeah,
just
yeah.
because no one could move.
Yeah.
And then when JR and I moved to LA, this was mid 2021. So we shot this in 2019.
Wow.
Had no idea that 2020, late 2019. So we had no idea 2020 would be what it was.
Oh, wow.
And then the Philippines had a longer pandemic period than the US. So our editors in the Philippines couldn't really leave their homes to go back to work. So what we did was we shipped the hard drives over to LA, and we had to find a completely new team to finish post-production for us.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's kind of
That's so
serendipitous actually
much.
because, rest in peace, my father died about a year and a half ago, and that's the reason why we moved to LA again to be with him. But before my father died, he was always telling me Jay, the next level for you, you need to produce a movie. And he kept telling me that. I was at first I was like, okay, Dad, that's cool. That's cool. But he was adamant about it. And finally, I just kind of was listening to him. I was like, wow, okay, he's really serious about this. And I'm thinking about my career. I'm like, you know what? That's actually some good advice. That's
Wait, this never crossed your mind before you said
it.
that?
Never did. No,
Wow.
no. So, a long story short, we talked about it. We made it happen, and then we moved out here to LA. And because we moved out to LA, we had more resources now to color grade the movie, to put sound design, to edit the movie down from 2 hours to an hour and a half. And because of that, it took the movie to just amazing heights, just where it
Yeah.
is now. And it's so serendipitous to me because, you know, my father was telling me all of this, and, you know, we were able to make the movie so much better. And now it's like an international release. And yeah,
these are
love
all
you, Dad. Thank
things
you.
that we would just dream about, like between ourselves, and be like, it'd be so cool if, you know, it'd be so cool if we get someone like this to work on the movie, and maybe it'll come out on Amazon. We don't
Wow.
know, you know, stuff like that. Like we would just talk about it and have no idea how to get there, but we always knew where we wanted it to go, kind of like vaguely in our dreams. But we would talk about it, like we'd visualize. But then when we were looking for those teammates, it also happened very organically, right?
Yeah,
like it was
yeah.
like friends of friends that referred us to, and everyone that worked on the movie really just believed in the movie.
Wow.
So we were lucky because it's like, dang, like we just brought this from the Philippines in hard drives.
Was there ever a point where you guys thought this movie would never see the light of day?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there was, especially during pandemic.
Yeah,
Right.
during
But-
pandemic, we thought it was over. We were like,
But I give it
lost
up to this one. Like, she did such a great job in the back end because we had budget to make the movie, but we didn't have any budget for distribution or marketing or anything like that. So when we came out here, she was just researching her butt off, and she figured out there's this market that happens every year. It's called AFM, American Film Market. And she was like, you know what? Even though tickets are really expensive, let's go. We'll go for 5 days in Las Vegas, and we're just gonna, like I said, you got to network, you got to throw yourself out there, and let's
Right.
just throw ourselves out there. And so we did. We're like dressed up in nice suits every day, and it's like, you know, presentable, and
Really?
we had our deck and everything, and she like hit up like 50 agencies, and we only got what, like 3 or 4.
I emailed 300 companies.
300.
That's
300.
crazy.
No, I gotta tell you, my brother, he runs a town in the Philippines, and he was telling me that in order to get a budget, he has to email 100 representatives or people within government to get funding. And from the 100 emails, he'll be lucky if he gets one response. Wow. And so I was like, okay, if I email 300 companies, I'll probably get like 2 or 3 emails back.
Yeah.
So I did that because I looked at the exhibitor list of this market that we signed up to go. And I was like, I don't know anything about this whole process, so I'm just going to cold email every single company that I thought would fit with what our movie was. Because you also can't, like, if it's a cartoon distributor, like, it doesn't
Right.
fit,
Yeah.
right? So, like, I had to do so much research. Emailed 300, got 4 meetings from the 300.
Wow.
So from the 4 meetings, we were confident that if we go to Vegas and do the thing, sit down with these people, at least, like, it's worth it to go. At least we'll learn something, or maybe we'll find distribution, or maybe we'll find a sales agent. But when we get there, because we kind of like inception this whole thing, you're like, we have to look the best, presentable, like we know what we're doing, like
Right.
this is not our first rodeo. And we get there and we meet random people that are in different parts of the business, and we take 5 more meetings. So we ended up with like 9 or 10, 11 meetings
Yeah.
even. And from there we found our distribution. Like we got a couple of
Nice.
offers from that trip. And we had no idea what we were doing. It was just like, you know, when you work backwards from the goal, it's like, we have to do this.
Ah.
We have to do this. Okay, if we get there and we don't have flyers, we have to print flyers. Like, if we get there and we don't have a trailer to show, I have to have an iPad, like, ready to go. The only thing we forgot was speakers.
Yeah. There's this funny story though, because before we went to Vegas, we were off to some kind of work or something. All of a sudden, she gets this email, and she's like, "Oh shoot, we have an opportunity to pitch the movie, to be able to present it in front of distributors and like the whole AFM." So then she was like, "Dude, it's like."
It's due now.
It's due now, and we're like on the way out, but we were just like, you know what? Let's just shoot it really quick. So
It's like a self-tape.
we took a self-tape, told them about the movie in 1 minute,
1 minute.
and we just kind of like memorized it real quick, and we just threw it out there, and we went to our work.
Yeah.
And then we got the reply back. They were like, "We loved it.
No way.
You're gonna have
The
a spot.
phone-
There's only 10 spots
No,
or
20.
20."
They only picked 20 out of all the submissions to
Yeah,
pitch
yeah.
in front of the whole
That's
AFM.
crazy.
So then we got that, and I was like, okay.
Those
now
odds are crazy.
We got to think about the presentation.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, we're singers. let's sing in the beginning of the thing, right?
Lean into it, yeah.
So we were up there. We were man. I've never
I've
felt
never
so
been so
nervous.
nervous in my life.
I've been
You
doing
guys
like
been
concerts.
performing forever.
Dude,
Girl.
You guys are
seriously.
professional performers.
Seriously.
We were sweating.
But
We were so scared.
It was different for some reason. We were like shaking up there.
'Cause you guys knew it was on the line.
Exactly,
Yeah.
right? So we get up there.
Because the people watching were like legit people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Big
yeah.
people.
Like some really industry people
There was a
in
panel
Hollywood.
that was gonna judge us.
Wow.
Like some people from William Morris Endeavors, and like these are big companies.
Because I mean, doing well here, what would that have meant for you guys in the movie?
one, exposure.
Okay.
So someone in the crowd maybe have a budget or a distribution deal for us or
Gotcha.
something, you know,
Yeah.
or maybe know someone that needs a film like ours.
Yeah, that's the point
That
of
was
it.
the
It's like
point.
you pitch your movie in front of people that could actually help you, and
Gotcha.
that's everyone in the crowd is someone that could help us.
Right.
But because we went up there and we sang, the judges were like, "Whoa, you guys sang?" So then they made us sing like separately.
How funny.
And
On
our
the
time was just
spot.
like longer than everybody else's, and because of that, we were just like walking around the whole AFM. They're like, "Hey, yeah, that was good. We remember you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, great pitch or whatever." There. So it was like great energy, and it was so cool because like it just came natural to us, and we were like, "Wow, maybe this is something we can do," or like maybe we can be movie producers, you know?
Yeah.
Not just that though, because you know how when you're sitting in a conference, it's so serious.
Yeah, for sure.
It's boring.
Yeah.
After a while, you're like, okay, when is this over? And then you get two random Asians that get up there and just blow them out of the water. He sang, what do you think, Boys to Men
I
or
sang,
something?
"I'll make love to you." I'll make love to you. I don't know why that
Hey,
came in my mind.
hey, that's cool. I'm sure that woke up some people.
Oh,
over
you know
there.
why I know? Because we watched Joko the night before, and Wanye
Oh.
was his guest, and he sang it. So I was like, "Oh man,
That's so funny.
Yeah. And then they turned to me and they're like, does she sing too? Like,
I was like, yeah.
He was like, yeah. Okay, sing something. Like, imagine like an agent from WME telling you to sing something on the spot. But you're not there to sing, you're there to pitch.
Yeah.
Right.
And we had memorized a 2 minute, our pitch was only 2 minutes. You cannot go longer than that.
Yeah,
And so we kind
because
of,
what we sang in beginning was just like a harmony of "Good morning,
Yeah.
good morning, good morning."
that's
Yeah.
all we did.
You know what I mean? Yeah, yeah.
And then we were going to go right into the pitch after that. But then it turned into like a mini concert. It was so fun.
That's crazy. I could imagine, like, you know, that came out of nowhere for
Yeah.
them.
We
and-
definitely
Yeah.
did not win the pitch, but
Yeah,
we
but it was
got
memorable.
but it was memorable, and we
Yeah.
got the exposure that we were. I mean, that was additional from the meetings that we had, but
Yeah.
it kind of goes to show that you gotta be ready. Like all of the experience that we had in the Philippines, being in show business, doing live shows, all the mess ups that we've ever had, kind of prepared us for that kind of moment. Because you kind of just you're literally on the spot.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
you have to show up and show out and represent your country. Like it wasn't even just like I think that's why it was so nerve-wracking because we were there like as representing Filipino
Yeah,
filming.
That's a lot of pressure.
That is.
And then our movie had to do with music, so it's like if we didn't sound good,
Right.
then we're pitching a movie that has to do with music that he wrote all the songs for and
How fitting. You guys
You know
did a
what I
karaoke
mean?
session, too. How appropriate.
it was crazy.
But I love.
scary.
I'm glad you guys share that story just because, like, I appreciate the movie so much differently now. Now I could watch it again. I was like, man, a lot went into this. And,
Yes.
you know, being, you know, given the success that you both had individually and together, like, you would think someone else was doing all this stuff for you guys. But you guys are doing it yourselves.
It's that
And-
meme, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, all them hats.
Yeah, so you guys are like the DIY producers of this film, from like not even just producing it, like acting in it and everything. So, man, props to you guys because that's a crazy journey.
you.
Because you guys went through the pandemic too, and then, man, you guys had your hands in every part of this movie.
But
Oh,
we see
man.
it all, like all the challenges. We saw every single thing as a blessing, because he's like, if there's got to be a solution, right? Like this is our end goal. There's got to be a way to get there. If there's none, then it is what it is. But like, what if we find the solution?
Right.
Then we'll make it.
Yeah.
So
I
that's
remem-
what we did.
Like it only takes one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I remember during when we were in production, there's a budget, right? And there's a due date for the budget to be in the bank account. And at the time, I was like, we were getting married and stuff. All my life savings gone. And then our other partner producers like, yo, we need to put the money in the bank already because we got to pay everybody by tomorrow. I was like, dude, okay, I got a show tonight, so I'm gonna go sing. I'm gonna go sing real quick. I'm gonna get paid, and then I can deposit. It was literally like that. Like every time I would get paid, it was like boom to the movie. So for some reason, like we were just being guided. It was like I didn't have the money. But somehow it would show up, and we'd be able to pay.
Wow. Even here in post-production, it's expensive. It's not cheap. But for the quality, though, we were like, no, the quality, it's gonna win because the quality's there. But like we were negotiating, like all the tactics. We were like,
can we break it up in like months?
Can we pay installments like this? We'll give you our address. You know where we live. Like stuff like that. But then for some reason, it just worked out.
Yeah.
Like we didn't really have the extra budget for post-production in America, but somehow it kind of like God provided.
Yeah.
So we were like,
Thank you,
okay,
Lord.
thank you.
Wow.
No, I mean, timing-wise, everything just worked out.
Yeah.
Like,
And it's crazy because, right, we shot this 2019, but how relevant still today
Absolutely.
is the plot.
absolutely.
Well.
Go ahead, Lynn. So go ahead,
I
Lynn.
mean, as we were watching the movie, I was like, is it okay if I mention a very big mogul that's in the spotlight right now? Because it's reminding me of his whole trial and situation. Of course, I'm talking about Diddy. And how he, as a record exec, music mogul, kind of took advantage of the people around him because he had that power. And I saw that in the movie. I was like, wow, this is kind of just similar small scale to what is, Diddy's being accused of. So I don't know. I was like, this is very on time. It's very on time, or, well, maybe not on time, but this is a story and the stories that have been happening behind the scenes
Well,
to
when
so many
we shot
people.
this, it was around the time where the Me Too movement popped off. So it was relevant already then, and then it quieted down, right?
Yeah.
But like for some reason, we're in the same month of this whole trial, and our movie comes out this month, and it's also AAPI Heritage. Like it's it had to come out this month for some
There
reason.
was Harvey Weinstein, right?
Yes.
And then
yes.
Diddy, but Diddy didn't do it.
Did he?
Did he do it?
No comment.
Did he? Or did he not?
I mean, we'll see what the jury says. Who are we
Did
to
he do
say?
it or did he not?
Who are we to say?
We gotta wait to see.
Yeah. But I'm sorry that I forgot about the Me Too movement, but yeah, that was huge. So yeah,
Yeah, we kind of were
Stories.
hoping that it would still be relevant
it is.
because
totally.
you know
It
what I
is,
mean. Because
totally.
it's like it still happens. It does happen. So,
Yeah.
but we weren't sure if in real time, in real life, that if there would be any, news stories that would have the same kind of vibe.
Mm.
But
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think that's why it surprised us knowing that you guys filmed it in 2019. Because
Yeah.
you could have told us you filmed it like this year,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I would have believed you.
Right.
Just because it's still so relevant.
But then
Yeah.
again, it also speaks to the importance of the message.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Kind of a timeless thing, unless
Yeah.
things change for real. But
I mean, that's been happening since the beginning of time, and it's always been kind of just swept under the rug
the
because
casting couch, that's
yeah,
a thing, right?
all of
Yes.
the above, right? So it's just now that we have internet, stuff is just coming out, and everyone
Yeah.
has a phone, like a camera on their phone
sure.
now, so it's easier for to be exposed and stuff. But it's been happening, and that's why it's so important for us to tell these stories.
Yeah, absolutely. And you guys mentioned that we are observing API month, but we're also observing Mental Health Awareness Month this month, right?
Oh, okay.
And watching the movie, like you totally see how mental health plays a part and how the music industry impacts that, especially amongst artists. You know what I mean? And sometimes the industry takes away the therapy of what music brings, and not manufacture music, but obviously has an influence in the music making to where you lose authenticity. How does an artist kind of navigate that, especially from like a mental health standpoint? How do you keep music still therapy? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a tough one because creativity, it's really about like borrowing from your or like the people before you or the artists before you and kind of making it your own. Like
Yeah.
you're inspired, like me, I'm inspired by like Usher or like Brian McKnight, and then I'll sing like him, but then I'll make it my own. So it's kind of hard to kind of just like I'm like blanking out. It's hard to say that artists. What I forgot my point. Dang. What was I talking?
Well, I mean,
what was my point? Do you know what my point is?
Well, because in the movie, like the industry essentially takes over the artistry of the music, right?
Oh, there. That's what I was talking about. You're right. So it's hard because sometimes people feel like they're copying too much, or it's hard to be original because everything sounds the same. But I mean, I feel like that's part of the art, and it evolves, and it's like the therapy behind it is really just making it. And the mental, if you think it's not good enough, that's where it gets the artist. It's like you don't need the people's validation for your art to be good. You
There you
know,
go.
it's whatever you feel and whatever you want to make. That's the validation already. And then it's just icing on the cake that people like it, you know? Of course, that kind of contradicts the business side because you're trying to cater to the market. But if we're
Right.
talking about mental health, yeah, like make your own stuff and love your own stuff, and who cares what people think? Like put it out. And that's the way you grow. You know, you like you put it out, you make your mistakes, and then you adjust and you make more stuff. The important thing is that you keep going, and it's really hard to just kind of like be hard on yourself,
Yeah.
which I think most artists are. I mean,
Yeah.
we're pretty
Our
much
worst
all
critics.
Yeah, we're all our worst critics. But you really have to just love yourself in this industry and know that you're always growing, and you always just have to keep going and keep evolving yourself. Like, yeah, keep copying people. That's fine. Like, don't feel bad about it. Like, and it's
from that you'll find yourself.
exactly. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Don't be so pressured. Like you have to be original, and it has to be like artistic or whatever. Like no, just make whatever you feel at the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
No, I love
also,
that.
it's also connecting or like knowing how to differentiate. Like, let's say you're very artsy in this thing that you're so passionate about, this sound or this style, but this other style is something that's working for your audience. So it's kind of like you have to, and you don't love that style so much, but it's working for your audience. So it's kind of like differentiating. Let me do this so that I can get exposure and get my platform stabilized, or like
Yeah.
my foundation kind of stronger. And then I'll drop, like once in a while, I'll drop the thing that I'm really passionate about and I'm pouring my heart and soul into it, like dropping gems like that. And eventually the people that are following you or watching you or are discovering you will figure out who you are through your music also. But not like, I think the struggle comes when artists feel like they only have to do the thing that people are telling them works. Because at the end of the day, you're the vessel and you create through, how do we create? Like we don't have like instructions how to do that. It comes from an antenna that's connected to like a higher energy or something.
Right.
Because there's no explanation how this stuff comes out. So like knowing the difference and knowing how to utilize the different pieces of work that you create is
Yeah.
important. Because sometimes artists get stuck.
Right.
It's like, oh, I'm only this kind of artist.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you're not. I mean, you are, but if you want to be, but you can also expand and do X, Y, and Z so that you can hit your goal of doing this.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's, did I explain that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank
no.
you. You said it way better than I did. That's for sure.
Yeah, and
He tells me this all the time. Like sometimes I get so frustrated. I have a love-hate relationship with my music, like my own music, because I make music that I like, that I listen to, that I vibe with, but it seems like the audience where I came from didn't really resonate so much with the style of music that I like. So it's kind of like, do I keep going? Do I stop? Like, should I just give it up? He's like, no, just keep going. Like, you'll find the people that'll like your style will find you.
Yes.
But it's like, it's a never-ending tunnel. I just want to see the light at the end of the tunnel.
yeah.
But it's connecting that distance, I guess.
Yeah.
All right, let's close it out with this. I want to let you guys know how much I appreciate you guys putting this movie together and all the hustle and persistence you guys put, because it's crazy how this movie, like you guys said, almost didn't see the light of day. Like you guys overcame all these obstacles and getting this movie together, overcoming the pandemic, getting it out there. And now that it's out there, seeing it, like, I appreciate it in a different light now. And, you know, I love the whole, like I told you guys earlier, I love the story, the impactfulness of the movie and how it's different from Filipino dramas. And the fact that it came from you guys just adds that, you know, spark of authenticity to it. So props to you guys, man.
Thank
And
you.
Thank you.
Thank
is producing still something you guys want to continue pursuing in terms of movies?
Yes,
We're cooking
for
up
sure.
something else next.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this process didn't scare you guys away
No,
at
not
all?
at all. It's so
Okay.
exciting.
Yeah.
When we decided to make this movie, we all came into it thinking that this could be the foot in the door so that we can continue to create more Filipino stories
Absolutely.
for the world.
How about you? How'd you like the movie?
I really enjoyed the movie. I didn't know what to expect at first. Irv kind of gave me like a very short like synopsis of what it's about. It's about, you know, the dark side of the Filipino music industry, but I didn't think it was going to be such a deep story. I loved the characters. Every role had a purpose, and I love when movies like play out and have like a message at the end. And so, yeah, congrats to you guys. I was just watching that movie and enjoying it, and also like cringing in like certain parts, and just like feeling like my heart like breaking in certain parts too. And just congratulations, it was great, and I can't wait to see more from you guys. It was
Thank
awesome.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
So given the context of the movie, you guys' backgrounds, and, you know, most of our audience are up and coming creatives and artists, what advice would you guys give them, even if it's like one or two, on whether to pursue the industry or just how to go about a creative life?
Most definitely. That's a tough one. For me, I think if you're a creative, I just really think you just have to keep going and not stop, because once you stop, that's when you fail already. And you never know, like the next day could have been like your big break. So you just got to be persistent, and collaboration is key. Sometimes if you don't feel the collaboration is right, like do it anyway, because you're gonna learn so much from that. I think that's even better. Like if it doesn't feel right, do it, because when you're what is that called, when you're not comfortable, when you're out of your comfort zone,
Yeah.
you definitely evolve and you start changing, and you just become a better all around person, artist, everything. So collaboration is key. I collaborate with anyone and everyone, and it's like it's brought me to so many levels in my career, and I can attest to that because I've done so many collaborations that I really didn't want to do, but I just wanted to learn something, and I just went into it, and I did learn so much. So yeah, that's just keep going, collaborate, and you're gonna get to where you want to be. Promise.
Hey, speaking of which, your collaboration with Jeremy Passion recently.
Hey!
So good.
Everybody check it out. Gets better. Gets better. Shout out to you, Jeremy Passion. Thank you for messing with me. It was really cool. Actually, you got another song too that just came out today in the Philippines, Majesty.
Yeah.
Oh, no
Finally
way.
have new music out. I'm so excited about it.
Wow.
Speaking of collaboration, I collaborated with Lil Eddie, an amazing songwriter. He's a Grammy Award-winning songwriter, singer, artist, producer.
Filipino?
He has some
He
Filipino.
has some, but he's Puerto Rican. But he
Okay.
has
Oh,
some
wow.
Filipino blood. He's
That's what's up.
amazing. The best songwriter that I've ever worked with, I
Mike
think,
Manny?
at this point. And also producer Mike Manny, who I met through JR. He's also amazing. But yeah, I definitely went out of my comfort zone because I was like, what am I doing in the room with these people? Let me just show up. So show up. That's my advice. Like, I've been able to open a lot of doors for my career by showing up. Like, for example, when I was starting in show business, I didn't even know that I was going to get into show business. JR told me to go to an audition in ABS for ASAP, and I showed up. And from there, I did not get the audition, but I met someone who introduced me to Mr. M, who put me through Star Magic, and then that started like the TV career. All because
Wow.
I showed up. I didn't
Wow.
even get the audition, nothing.
Yeah.
Same thing for like creative stuff. Show up to things that'll improve you, that you'll learn something and that you'll grow. Like, don't ever turn your back on learning something new, even if it's a skill or a pillar that you don't think that you're good at necessarily, or something that you really want to do. Just have a learning about it, and then it'll make you better as a person overall, and it'll make your art better.
Wow,
And
love that.
Also, last thing, the heartbreaks that come along with it, they're meant to happen to you so that you can grow from it and be better from it. That's how we learn and that's how we grow. So embrace those challenging times too.
Yeah, that's so good.
Nice.
Thanks
Wow.
for giving us the opportunity to show up here. Thank you.
already know.
This is dope.
You
Yeah.
already know. Well, listen, yo, thank you guys for stopping by. I mean, I know you guys are busy pushing the movie, your own music, but stopping by Track Life, dude, we can't thank you guys enough.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Pleasure's all ours.
You guys
Yeah.
are our first podcast about the movie.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, no way.
Exclusive.
That's what's up. All right. Well, with that said, thank you guys, and thank you everyone for watching.
Songs for Selina. Let's go.
Yeah.